Hello everyone, this is Erik, the Asian movie enthusiast, and this is my review of From the End of the World, a Japanese fantasy movie from 2023 that was directed by Kazuaki Kiriya, the man who previously gave us Casshern in 2004 and Goemon from 2009. I have separate reviews on both of those films on my channel. They are very unique movies that are visually insane. Totally worth checking out, though. So, how does From the End of the World compare? Well, let's find out. Now, the following plot synopsis was taken from the website Underhand. Hana is a young girl living with her grandmother. Both her parents died in a car crash. When her grandmother dies, she's forced to fend for herself. But out of the blue, she gets questioned by the police, who want to know about her dreams. Hana tells them she doesn't remember her dreams much, but that very night she has a vivid one where she's transported to feudal Japan. She's chased down by a group of samurai, but is saved by a young girl who takes her to a mysterious cave. An old woman lives there, alerting Hana of a great peril. Back in the real world, the police have noticed Hana's dream ability has awakened. Alright, it's a little wild. The opening scene shows a 7-year-old girl running through a forest, passing wounded men who are dying on the ground. And then we cut to the modern day with our 17-year-old main protagonist, and her grandmother immediately passes away in the hospital. Now after that, we see her work at a busy restaurant, and soon learn that she is under a significant amount of financial stress because she has no one to rely on. She can't even go to cosmetology school because of her need to simply survive by earning a paycheck. To make matters even worse, her teachers are unsympathetic and she's dealing with bullies, so this girl cannot catch a break. Then, a man and woman from the police show up and start asking her about her dreams, implying that they have widespread influence on humanity as a whole. Now, at this point in the movie, I had no idea really where the story was going. Primarily because there are so many open questions at the start that have to be rectified as you move along. We do receive the overall plot by the 30-minute mark, and it is pretty wild. It is. Eventually, I could kind of see inspiration, perhaps major inspiration from other books and movies from the past, which prompted me to start formulating predictions for future twists, but this movie still is kind of its own thing here. Most ironically, I've actually been reading a lot of Isaac Asimov lately, and one of his science fiction short stories involved a person who was chosen to answer questions that were seemingly trivial and not that important, but his answers had significant impacts on many people. And I kind of saw that element in this movie as well. And my recent readings basically primed my mind to for a premise like this, which is, essentially about a teenage girl whose dreams may have significant implications on the real world for many people. The constant mystery components and slowly revealed facts kept me interested in this movie. It'll definitely keep your imagination going. However, if you're someone who really needs to know the mechanics on how things work, you may have a problem with this, because they'll show you information or a decision that happens, and then they'll show you the consequences. So it's easy to follow, but the line of causation between those two things is not really evident. So in this film, you are going to have to just kind of go with it, so to speak. But even so, the film kind of enters its final half hour, and I was questioning if everything would come together. You have all these open questions at the beginning. Does it come together? Kind of, I would say. There are still some ambiguities and room for personal interpretation to fill in some gaps at the end of the movie. But I enjoyed the ending quite a bit, and I was mostly satisfied with it. Runtime here is 2 hours and 15 minutes. But the pacing is good, and that's a testament to how the writing, keeps you engaged and interested in what's happening. It keeps you guessing. We do get some weird side characters, which is always nice for a film like this. One popular Japanese actor shows up as an antagonist, and I had no idea that he was in the movie. A nice surprise. I've always been a fan of his, and he plays intimidating characters quite well, so it was nice to see him here. This director's filmography is exceptionally small, especially if you limit yourself to his feature-length theatrical films. I mean, he's only directed a few. His last film was one called Last Nights from 2015, which was a British movie I watched a few years back, and it was like, okay. But his two big Japanese flicks from the 2000s, Casshern and Goemon, were very interesting. But they had copious amounts of CGI effects and crazy fantasy environments. From the End of the World is not like that. It's entirely different from a visual standpoint. You know, it's not nearly as like operatic or CGI heavy or extravagant. It's much more of like an urban dramatic thriller that has some really crazy fantasy and psychological concepts in it. So the visuals are less outlandish. And if you dislike that about this director's prior films, you know, there might be a reason to actually check this one out, because it's not like that. In fact, the colors in this film are washed out during those feudal Japan dream sequences, but it's more flashy in its color palette when you go to the modern day urban Japanese environments. You know what I mean? So it kind of transitions. So when she dreams and you go to feudal Japan, it'll be a little washed out and looks almost like a classic film. And then you go to the modern day stuff and you get some nice, like lighting. You know what I mean? For like the alleyways and stuff like that. So it's a nice little variety in terms of visuals. So I would say that From the End of the World is a pretty cool movie. It does have some ambiguities. You'll need to put some pieces together in your own mind. But I kind of strongly recommend this film if you want something that's like good quality and a bit different. You're not going to see a lot of stuff like this really coming out of Japan, or really, you know, a lot of places. So, yeah, it was refreshingly different. Currently available streaming on Apple TV, but you could probably find it elsewhere as well. If you decide to check this out, let me know what you think. And did you like this director's prior films? Let me know. And as always, I'll see you next time.